right, we are back in the studio. It is the Talking Power podcast. This is a wrap-up of everything Racewars for our listeners on 88.5 FM. And for our podcast listeners, we are back. We're back into the land of the living. Not that we weren't living before, but, geez, when you're down in Albany, the time just gets away from you, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it was a highly stressful couple of days for me.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I'm glad to be back. I'm actually going to take the opportunity now. Hopefully we have some new listeners. We did reach out and speak to a lot of new people down in Albany.
We did, yeah.
A certain Evo, slow Evo, but a certain Evo was stick it up very nicely with Talking Power on the side. A lot of people asked me, what's it for? I said it's a podcast, but we also do some photography and video, and yeah, look, if we get one new listener out of the 30 people we spoke to, well, it's a win.
That's right. Yeah, certainly. Look, it was a great weekend. We had lots of fun. So look, let's just touch on the results now. You do so. Let's just rattle off your time here. You finished up with a 2 minutes and 2.59 seconds.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
Pretty annoyed.
Well, you didn't want to, as per our recording, you didn't want to know what your time was.
No, I
didn't. So Dave and I weren't in the position to tell you where you're at. Yeah, hurry up and knock off another 3 seconds.
Yeah, no, pretty annoyed. I found out lunchtime today, someone sort of messaged me and went, "Hey, what were you doing wrong?" And then someone else actually said, "Oh, that's not bad for your first time out." Then the second message was, "Hey, what did you do wrong?"
I think it was pretty good. The guy behind you was 3 seconds behind you, so
yeah. Look,
and the guy in front of you was it was about 3 seconds in front of you, so
the excuse generator, but there's two I'm sticking to. First time in the car, believe it or not, was actually a bit uncomfortable with the car at speed.
Yep.
Just wasn't having the feel on it, which is more seat time needed, basically.
Yep.
And has some severe tyre scrub issues that will get addressed, this week.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like the last run, I had a look, there's a little bit of, I wouldn't say deep cuts, but a bit of just cuts. So we need to wind some height in the coilovers at the back and just sort of bang a few things out of the way to give some more clearance. So part of the risk I took, as I said to you in the pits, was I can either drive the car home or maybe slice a tyre open. So
yeah,
the other lesson would be, as Dave was saying to me, put some spare tyres in the car next time, which I probably should.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, no, certainly, yeah, some spares probably would have helped. Hey, we need to touch on basically the run-in order. So the overall winner, he'll go down. It was Will White in his Mitsubishi Lancer.
Yeah, that's right.
It's an Evo 9 job, that one. He went, he was reasonably quicker than anyone. Yeah. So he went 1 minute 37.43 seconds. That's awesome. And our Denver Parker as well, he went 1 minute 41. So that's reasonable too.
Yeah, that's the Land Whale.
Yep.
I mean, I don't want to speak on Denver's behalf, but I do believe this is its final event for quite a long time. Like, this was it.
Yeah.
Also, a shout out to Dennis Heller. I kind of know him, and I know that they've got some pretty serious cars. That car's been around for a while. He's Evo 8.
That's an 8, yeah.
Yeah, it's been around for a little while. They've been having just weird issues with it. It's good to see him hopefully nipping the issues in the butt and getting up there.
Yeah.
So, Mark Greenham, awesome times. Apparently he had a little incident from what I heard in the afternoon.
Yeah, okay.
Not sure how major or minor. Again, I will reach out to Mark and find out. And Mark, if you're listening and I'm wrong, please correct me, and I know you will.
He will.
Yeah, he will. But awesome to see Mark. He was there to put on a show and have a good time.
Definitely.
He was still running in what is essentially a Targa car at the moment. There has been some rule changes in Targa from what you can and can't run. Mm-hmm. Not sure where Will White fits in there, the winner, but I do believe Will White's car was a missile, would be the best way to put it.
Yeah, so, you looked at the times, he was considerably... He didn't do a fifth run either, so...
Yeah, when you factor in there was the talk around the pits and the BS meter, we'll call it. Always take out 10% or more, or probably 15% of the BS meter.
Yep.
He was still way up on any other guy near him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're talking 500 horsepower. I don't think it was quite making 500. but even if it was making a consistent 450, a strong 450, it had a massive amount of torque, and that's what you needed up that hill. So
Yep. So overall, Todd, you came in, I believe, 60th.
Yep.
And that was in a 90-car field. So that's a very good effort, given that I think we know Brad's car was driven to the track.
Yeah.
Brad, listener of the podcast, we interviewed him in yesterday's episode. Your car was driven to the track. I don't know how many of these cars were driven to the track. There's probably a few of them, but to finish 60th in 90 cars and drive it home from Albany back to Perth. That's
the one bit that I feel a bit better about. I'm like, you know what? I drove it home.
Yep.
I won't do it ever again. I can tell you that now.
You won't drive it home again?
I won't. No, I want to drive it home, but I'm not driving to Albany back again. No. My back needs a chiropractor. If there's anyone listening to the podcast, we need a sponsor. A chiropractor would be great, considering we're doing more motorsport. I think I'm going to need a chiropractor or a physio, either. I got
out feeling fine, actually, refreshed.
Oh, yeah. Also, a fuel sponsor would be well handy. But hey, we'll talk about that later.
I didn't even have to stop for fuel.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Thanks, Nick.
So, yeah, that's a very stout effort. So, and we spoke with a number of people there, and they all done really reasonably well. So, look, hats off to everyone, and hats off to the organisers as well, and the town of Albany. I think they've really put on a great show, really enjoying the Albany Sprint.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, while we're talking here, we should touch on final results for the Runway event. So let's just have a look at that now. So in our day one recording, you recall us as we were doing the recording, Eddie did his final run of the day. That was the 800 metre, or commonly known as the half mile. So he clocked a 347 kilometre an hour run there. He'll go down as the champion for this year in 2020 Racewars. Great speech he said on the Sunday night at the Due South down in Albany.
Yep.
Really fitting, very fitting speech, and to have that kind of statement from the quickest car there, and from a participant that has previously crashed quite heavily at a Racewars event.
Twice, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was a ringing...
Yeah, that was.
It was certainly leaving... There was no uncertainty about cancelling the racing on the Sunday after. Look, there was none beforehand, but Eddie really reiterated to anyone that was listening, it was impossible to race.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we were at the airport at, 8:30? No, 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock we got there.
Sorry. Yep. 9 o'clock. I can legitimately tell you, I was scared standing there. It was wet, windy. It was an Albany winter day, or almost say, except we didn't have snow on Bluff Knoll. But that was about the short of it. I mean, the main thing was the timing control guys that we I know a few of them quite well. They said the windsock was vertical at one point, which for people that don't realise what I'm talking about, the windsock is how the airspeed, the ground airspeed is measured at an aerodrome. If they're vertical, that's not a good sign. There was a large puddle of water at the end of the runway, which was there for a good 2 or 3 hours apparently. Again, for the people playing at home, you can land an aeroplane on a wet runway, right? It's still a bit sketchy. We've all been in an aeroplane that's come down in a big storm. But they're designed to come down on the ground, slow down, and that's the thing, slow down. They're not, and then even take off, but you have to realise once they get to a certain point, they get off the ground and they go up in the air. You've got a car that's doing 350 k's an hour that then has to slow down. That's when everything can go horribly wrong.
Well, you're shifting weight in the vehicle. Yeah.
Besides that, I won't get too technical, but the bitumen of a runway dries different than a purpose-built drag strip. So all the drag strip guys will know that you can get the hot air blower out and, you still might lose half an hour. And ongoing rain, they will cancel an event, but you can dry the track out. You see it in America a lot. They dry it out, They do a couple of runs. They might get rained out again, but it dries different, and they can do that. You can't chuck a big air blower or a big dryer on a runway. It's not built for it.
You can, but you're not dispersing the water that's in the lower part of the aggregate.
Yeah.
So you'll dry off the water that's on the rounded top part of the aggregate, but the water that's sitting in the groovy babies, as I like to call it, you won't disperse that water. That water was still sitting there. But the biggest drama was the pooling of the water at the top end of the track. I call it the top end, the braking zone of the track. It was there for numerous hours after the event was cancelled, and it was in the risk that they ran was that there was forecast showers to happen after that in any event. So it was the moment Sunday we got up, it was kind of doomed, really. The rain was in, and it was the right call. Now, whether it was, we're not saying whose call it was the AASA, the City of Albany's call or Racewars, it's relevant. The call was correct, and we had Ed drive that message home on the Sunday evening. Anyway, so Ed finishes in the number 1 spot. Number 2, James Bleakley. Now, I believe that was a WTF auto car.
That is correct.
Yep. In the number 3 spot, we have Roger Vuksanovic. So well done, Roger. Number 3 there. 310 kilometres an hour. Number 4, Dave Christie.
Yeah, now I think I overheard a conversation at one point on Sunday night. First year they cracked 300 in that Commodore.
No, I don't believe so. I think
over the 800.
In 800, yes. Sorry, in 800.
He was quite excited about that. They got 297.8 or something from memory. I kind of chipped in on the conversation. So I think, David, you listen to the podcast every now and then, from what I understand.
Yep. It's a good drag racer, David.
Meant to introduce myself. Apologies. Do know you through some other people, and good on you. Like I was listening to the conversation. That's a fair effort.
It is a fair effort. Yeah. Anyway, in the number 5 spot we have Jared Dowd. He's gone 301. Now this is over 800 metres. We're going to reiterate. Right. We must reiterate that. Josh Jacob. Hey. 300 kilometres an hour in that FPV, the Monster Torque FPV. That's one of the Monster Torque. Number 2, I reckon Rob will be spewing 297. They had a great weekend, those guys.
Number 8. Now, again, a WTF car, a Toyota MR2 that went 294 k's an hour. Well, that is a 2-litre 4-cylinder with a lot of boost pushing out 294 k an hour. Like that's incredible. That's stout.
Yeah. Warwick Pike I love that ute, the HSV Maloo ute, 292 backdraft. That's the one with the big turbo in the back.
Bright orange, you can't miss it.
In the wheel body. Awesome, that ute. And in the number 10 spot, Rob Wainwright. Well done, Rob. 291 kilometres an hour. We're not going to go through all of these results, but anyway, that's your top 10.
Yeah, you can check them all out at racewars.com.au, of course, all the results.
Yep.
So, yeah. One thing I was going to add, just before we move on, is take a step back a year. 351 was the record over the 1,000 from the Will-All GTR. I believe Ed did 336.
336,
yep. So, Eddie did 347 over 800, and to be fair, that wind and the runway wasn't the best place to be on Saturday afternoon even.
No, it was
like he had the potential to probably actually go 350 plus in the 800, really.
But Ed's 336 was 800 last year. He didn't get a decent run at 1,000.
Oh, well, there you go.
So his 336 last year was in the 800.
Oh, there you go. But so yeah, again, shout out to Eddie because that's pretty wild. Look, and if you're interested, I know Eddie will probably have that car down the draggers again. So doing the 400 stuff later this year. It is a quick bit of kit.
It is.
Makes 2,000 plus horsepower now, which
2,000 kilowatts.
Yeah.
2 megawatts.
Yeah. Which is just get your head around those numbers.
That's right. And he's also taken the number 1 spot on the radio list.
We weren't going to talk about that.
No, we're not.
Sorry, Simon.
Sorry.
Simon, bring out PA breakers again. Wind it up.
All right. Hey, everyone listening to the podcast, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your time. We really appreciate it. We'll be back in a couple of weeks. Well, sorry, we'll be back much sooner than that. We've got a big interview coming up with Phil Lamartina, Top Fuel driver. Yep. So make sure you tune in for that. That'll be dropping in probably the next week or so. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We really appreciate it. All the best. Take care. We'll see you out there.
Talk and Power, your motorsport and motoring radio show. Now on 88.5 FM, The Valley Comes Alive. And podcasting across iTunes and talkandpower.com.au.